right, it's a beautiful afternoon here, Metro TV, and this is a Good Afternoon, Ghana. I am right. Nana Kwesi, I'm in from my studios here at Regional Crowd, the Queer Boy Master, very live and active on DSTV, channel 277. Today we are talking about Duopoly when it comes to politics and those who have been ruling the country for a long time. I'll tell you more on who my guest on the show this afternoon after this break. Stay with us. And it's 5 minutes past the hour, 2 p.m. here, local time, and I'm joined in the studio by two, should I say, politicians. One is a doctor, and the other is the chairman and leader of the Convention Post Party, CPP, Nana Akusha from Pomas Kuma. She is on my left. Good afternoon and welcome.
Wonderful. It's nice to be here. As always. And let me say, Happy New Year to all the viewers across the world. And I'm just excited to be here.
Great. And Dr. Bernard Tutu Buahin is political marketing expert. He is also here in the studio with us this afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, Bright.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I remember our last meeting was during the NDC executive elections.
You slept here?
We did, yes, we did. We'll be joined later by Janet Nabla, who is the General Secretary for PNC, also joining us in the studio for a conversation. We want to look at how do we break the political duopoly? Are you happy about that? The MPP NDC run, are we excited about that? If not, what is the alternative? Do we even have an alternative at all? Because the only excuse we get all the time is, if you are shifting away from the NDC and the MPP, which party is the alternative? I'm happy to be joined in the studio by two leaders of the political party and a doctor who is into politics and marketing and understands well what exactly it is to go to market a political party, to go down well to the citizenry and into their minds. Let me start with you, Anna. And yesterday, so an interesting thing right now, yesterday, the CPP adored Captain Smarts, who is the media person as a member of the party. And I'm wondering, what exactly is the target? This is Captain Smart speaking. Take a listen.
We have given so many things and trusted all these things into the hands of some political parties. The NPP have had their share, gave them our gold, we gave them our money, we gave them everything. Still the people of this country are crying. We entrusted same to the NDC. We are still crying. And there was one man when this country was turned into his hands, he gave us a hope. In his wisdom, so many things were done. Sometimes I hear people saying that, those of you in the CPP, Kwame Nkrumah died so many years ago. So you tell us what you can do. Why the MPP are still talking about National Health Insurance? Who did it? Hey! You know you so. He's not in power, so why are you still talking about it? It is because people are afraid of the achievements of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And anytime you mention the name, it wrecks their bones. And it makes it practically impossible for them to exist. So these two major political parties have succeeded brainwashing, dogmatizing the people to believe that if somebody is a CPP president, it's either he was being loaned by the NPP or loaned by the NDC. There's only one thing I want to say. It's either we unite today or we perish tomorrow. Listen, it's either we unite today or we perish tomorrow. I am sure this party has come far for people to sit and say any other thing about this party. I have watched elections over the years. I have listened to political debates, heard CPP communicators, and sometimes when they begin to speak, one person I know very well, Chairman Gallo in Ashanti region, sometimes when he opens up his mouth, the two parties shut up. The reason is that when it comes to developing this country, no political party in this country knows how best than the CPP. And in Dr. Mamadou Bawumia's book, The Monetary Policy, he wrote and admitted that in 7 years, Scientific Dr. Kwame Nkrumah gave Ghana on a silver platter over 442 companies, industries, factories, blah, blah, blah. 7 years. Now, NDC have had a fair share 16 years. Another 16 years will be 2024, just next year. And I want to ask one simple question. When you divide 442 by 7, what will be their answer? And when you divide the poverty in this country by their 32 years, what will be their answer? We are poor not because we don't have the things that can kick us out of poverty. We are poor because we don't have the brains that will lead us and take us out of poverty. We don't have the quality of education anymore. Not because our children do not know how to study, but it is because we don't have leaders who are education oriented that will help our children get to the top. And they are rather interested in killing our education and taking their children out of this country to somebody's country to go to school. I ask once again, CBB, what are we? Now I am officially part, so we. What are we looking for? This is my question for every single individual of this party. That what are we looking for? If indeed we want to save this country, first of all, let's save the party. Because if you have no hen, you have no egg. Let's save this party. There's been a lot of changes up, down in this party. And that reminds me of what Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah once said, that change, when it is denied or too long delayed, violence will break out here and there. Change. We got to change the strategy. We need to change everything. We need to change our approach. We need to change the way we do things. We should be proud of ourselves that we belong to this party.
All right, and so you just heard from journalist and media personality Captain Smart, who was outdoored yesterday by the CPP as a member. Interesting combination, right? But I want to start with you, Nana. What is this new strategy by the CPP?
Well,
it used to be a third force, but we saw what happened 4 years ago when GUM came in. Is it a strategy to claim back your third place, or you want to come first?
No. We are not trying to be a third force back. We are trying to take over the nation. We want to get back to the Flagstaff House. We want Ghana to work again. I mean, that is CPP is the first political party of this nation. There's a history and the reason why we are where we are. And I keep saying this. When we had a chance to do it again, we won. And that was when we had Liman as our president. And then the next time, in this Fourth Republic, we merged with NDC. And from then, all our structures remain with NDC till today. So CPP, we are clear with the leadership of today. We are very clear what our problem is. It has nothing to do with the policies. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with the fact that we don't have the legs, the foundation anymore. And that is what we are building. We are focused. We are asking people to come join this party, take over the CPP so that they can go take over the governance of this country with the best policies that can build the nation, that brought the nation, that built the nation. Within 7 years, as Captain Smart was saying, we had over 400 factories. These are factual. And so we need to get back to the same system that can help us. If you are a Christian, you follow the principles of Christianity so that you can live the life of Christ. And if you are a Muslim, you do the same thing. So for us, what we are saying that Ghana was built and brought here as we see it today by a particular political party with an ideology, with a vision and a focus. And when we did that, we started, it was clear, there was no IMF. It's been there. We've gone to the 18th time since we were the whole system was truncated. And since that time, what have we seen? The youth of today have no clue. They can't even imagine what it means to be in love with yourself and to be living in a country that can give you hope and give you some kind of future that you can rely on. The youth of today are frustrated. The youth of today, you can see in their faces and everywhere, they don't see the future. There's no future for them. So what you saw and what's our, you are asking me, is this supposed to be, what you saw yesterday is going to be several of such, all those that have gone out.
So you have a number of personalities like this lined up to join the party again?
Yes, all those that have gone out of CPP or staying on the fence, and very importantly, those that want Ghana to work again. Those that believe that this is not our lot, that we are not ready for this sort of mediocrity. You don't even know what's going to happen to your pension. Even your parents, that you have seen them struggle and suffer. When they have saved, you don't even know what is going to happen next. These are the young people who themselves are frustrated. And since they've tried the MPP and the NDC, there's no magic. It is a journal. If the morning, the buses have already come with the market women, and you did not see what you are looking for, and it means that it's not coming because it's only one-way track. If it would have worked out, it would have been done. And you say, in other words, if the person is already going to serve you, he would have served you. He gave you something later. You keep asking. The youth of the country today is very clear. It's very, very clear. We should really take this serious. Very clear. They are tired and very frustrated.
I'll come back to you. I want Doctor to react to this and find out whether this works in political marketing. I mean, introducing faces, non-faces, and people who have following into your party. Does it even work? I'll come back to you, but let me acknowledge the presence of Janet Nabla, who is the General Secretary for PNC. Good afternoon and welcome. Happy New Year. Great to have you in the studio.
I'm happy to be here today.
All right. I'll come to you as well for your feedback, but let me go to Doctor. Dr. Tu, now, this is the strategy being taken by the CPP, welcoming back people who were part of the party and new face and all that. Does it work?
So good afternoon to my co-panelists and the entire audience of Metro TV. Let me start with a statement that Captain Smart made, saying that, when you see people in the CPP, it means that they've been loaned by either NDC or MPP. I see it is the reverse rather, to the extent that people from CPP have moved out of CPP to join either the NDC or the MPP. And I think that even the immediate past chairman of the MPP was a CPP member, right? Okay. We know people like Dr. Obeda Samoa, and co migrating from the CPP, to the NDC. And that tells you the fact that when you have big men leaving your party, more or less it is a depletion. In marketing theory, there's one particular theory we call the leaky bucket. A bucket. Yes, a bucket that is leaking. If you put it under a tap and you open it, with respect to where the hole is, the bucket can never get full. And that is what is happening to CPP. So I don't even know whether that or those holes in the CPP has been sealed or they are still there. If those holes are still there, then obviously what it means is that you will see people like the likes of Captain Smart. They will come in, they will say can West, but probably it will not be long, they will exit. And that has been my concern.
He's promised to stay. He's promised to stay. He's back for good.
How do you determine? Words cannot be judged. You understand? You don't judge people by the words that they put up and the platform that they mount. All right? Yeah. So words is characterized by actions, commitment, issues of trust, all right, and dedication. So if you are going back for such people, your question is as to whether it will work. Yes, it will work, provided all the externalities, are taken care of. And one particular problem about the CPP, which for me has eaten deep into the fiber of the party, has to do with that spirit of togetherness, all right, which I think that Madam is here. This is free consultancy. You need to work on it, and I believe you know. You see, you had people like the likes of Kabila. He left. Kabila just left, and to me, he's one exciting guy that could have stayed, motivated enough, to, push the party forward together with, people in there. And so my point is that yes, this can work. What in marketing terms you call the buzz marketing. Targeting opinion leaders, bringing opinion leaders, targeting your own people who have climbed up the social ladder to the highest level, bringing them into the party, and for them to take over the party. I mean, these are people that other people, or a lot of people look up to. So once they say words like what Captain Smart did, then of course, obviously, you expect a lot of people, to follow them. But when that key tie is broken, then of course, you should also believe that when they are going, they are taking their followers away. All right? So I think that the plan is good. The strategy matter. The goodwill is more important. And if you are able to put these things together, as you said, it is not about being a third party, but taking over the presidency, taking over the reins of government, and putting your treasures where it is due. In that case, CPP will become very attractive.
Oh, such an interesting and great submission. You want to say anything quickly?
Absolutely.
I'll come to Janet.
A quick one,
please.
Doc said a few things that I just want to straighten, because not straighten, but I like the one that he's talked about, the leaking basket. I agree with him. If a basket is leaking, no matter how much you pour, it's going to continue unless you are pouring more than it's leaking, and at the end of the day, it will still leak away. However, like he just said, at the end of the day, if you change the basket and you take a bucket, then you don't have a leaking problem anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, in as much as we have understood, we are clear as I told you earlier, what our problem is and what our problem has been in the past. And I strongly believe that if we continued the path that we had in the past, we would have the same results that we always not expect. So we've changed things. What you see today, the reason why people left the party were not just because CPP is a bad political party. People leave other parties. CPP, being what it is, right from 1966 coup, was orchestrated. Everything was burned. CPP was banned. You couldn't even mention the name. It took us until recently to go back and bring that name. For what reason? The reason simply being that if you look at the policies, if you look at the path, if you look at the roadmap, there's no way Ghana would have not made it. So the elements that were ready to ensure that this party does not get up so that Africa will get nowhere. It's not just about Ghana, but Africa, because our father said our independence was tied to the total liberation of the African continent. And that was the vision, that if we was going to have anything to talk about and we said we're capable, then it means that this is what. So if you look at the two parties over the years, every good element in our party, people want to feel like they can make an impact. So if I don't think I can impact what I have to contribute, then I join another party to do that. I always say that 90% of people in CPP are usually very patriotic. So I am not surprised that when they go anywhere, they seem to do very well. But the truth of the matter is that we have, as he said, we have just learned what it is, and we've changed path, and we are moving on. I believe that now that he has come, it is not about him. It is just about the youth of the nation. It is about what is out there. There's no other option. There's no option but for you to come and take the party and you do it yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. Look at the level of disappointment that we've had with MPP. Look at the level of disappointment. So who is going to do it for you at this point? It is for you yourself. And all CPP is doing is offering the party, like he said, all the big people have left. My father is gone. Osajif himself is gone. My grandmother is gone. My grand auntie, my grand uncle, all the members of CPP who were there, all they have gone. But the party is still there and it's vacant. And that is why we are asking them to come take over the governance of the nation.
All right.
We're not asking anybody to vote for us. Come and join the party. And then let's all together ensure that your interest is taken care of. Otherwise, you see what you see.
If you don't get voted for, how do you serve their interest?
They themselves are going to vote for themselves. You don't get the point.
So they're not voting for the party, but voting for themselves.
Yes, they are voting for themselves. They are voting for their own interest. They are voting for their future. They are voting for their children. They are voting for their grandparents' pension schemes. That's what they are doing.
All right, Janet. The CPP is trying to garner a certain level of votes by introducing some persons like Captain Smart. What's up with your party? What's happening? What's the strategy as we go to elections?
Let me greet you, my cohort, easy participants, and then your viewers this afternoon. It's good that Captain Smart will want to come back. Let's hope that the coming back is in the right direction. He's coming to bring positive vibes to the party, maybe help in uniting and help in gathering the youth to follow the party. You know, the PNC is one of the political parties that have contributed a lot to this country and is still contributing. The youth of this country, if they are looking for policies and not political party symbols, will decide that election 2024 is one of the crucial elections that any youth who is out there following a political party, campaigning for that political party, and holding the option that Operation Change Position should better think of policies instead of we changing position. And I think that the media should come in. The media can be able to help in formulating the minds of Ghanaians towards policies instead of what we are doing. Now you see that NPP, they are in power. Things are very difficult and challenging for them. The NDC and who have helped them to rule this country all this while are in opposition. And because they think they are in opposition, their mandate is to be checking for faults. You did this, you did that, you did this. That is all what they do. But Ghanaians have forgotten that you have to ask them, what are you bringing on the table? They are not bringing anything. They are just bringing criticisms. They are bringing criticisms. That's not what we want as a country. This country, we are sick and tired of criticisms. If you are able to criticize a particular person, be able to bring out solutions, tell them that this is what we would have done if we were to be confronted with this, we would have done this and this and this to get out. You are not talking about how to be able to bring in solutions. You are talking about how to be able to cite failures. That is not what the country wants. And I want the media to realize that. Don't leave NDC. NDC and MPP have ruled this country to date. I've heard people say that we have a large governance. The government is having a large, what do we call it, and then we want them to come down. They have to cut down the size of government. Who brought us to that place? All the ministers, were they not vetted in parliament? Our dear minority members of parliament, were they not there when they were vetting? Don't you think they would have had the right to tell the government that things are tough? This ministry and this ministry, let's merge them up. Let's do this, let's do that. Come out with something. Reason why we had 137, 138 parliamentarians and were happy were because we were thinking that they were coming over there to be able to safeguard the interests of Ghanaians. Is that what they are doing? No. All the ministries, agencies, and institutions that are public, it is the members of parliament that are in charge of them. They are those that are supposed to supervise these institutions. If any institution in this country is not doing well, it's not because of MPP, it's because of the MPP and the NDC governance system that is failing this country. So when we are talking about opposition parties, I don't want to see NDC saying they are opposition. They are not in opposition. They are part of the governance system of this country. So when we are talking of change, they are not part of the change Ghanaians should be looking for. And if you are any person in Ghana thinking that NDC is change, it's going to be from frying pan to fire because they are not going to help you. They are not bringing anything new on the table. Now let's talk about the PNC. The PNC have been a political party.
That was your first submission.
First submission. To tell people the reason why, when we are talking about political parties, don't look at a political party symbol. Don't try to look at how laborious, how do I even say, how many the political party, the number of supporters or sympathizers the political party has. You know, there are some people, they want to belong to the large family. So because of that, they will look for a large political party to join. Don't do that. You are a youth. You voted for NDC. They did not help you. You voted for MPP. Same has happened to you. So why will you turn your face back to the two political parties? Your main aim is to now look at a third force. And that third force is not these two political parties. It is the PNC or the CPP that we are all talking about. We are going to have a major crowd. We are coming together. So we are saying that the PNC have built policies, yes, have built policies that have helped this country and they are still helping. In 1996, the PNC came out with a lot of policies, including Ministry of Women and Children Affairs. We saw how women were suffering in this country, and so we proposed it. We spoke about Get Fund. We spoke about national health insurance. We spoke about school feeding. School feeding the school feeding a policy we brought. It's not how, the way it's being managed now, that's not how we thought it should have been managed. It's being mismanaged. And we think that the one who bring out the policy will be able to implement it better than when someone else comes to take the policy. PNC have been a political party that have come out with policies. You see, we have a new policy that people are saying it will not work, it will not work. We're talking about the single mothers allowance in the country.
Government allowance.
When we're struggling single mothers, a lot of children nowadays were raised by single mothers.
But they are single fathers as well.
Yeah, no. So let's say single parents. So they were raised by single parents. As a result, the difficulties that these women, I'm saying women because when you look at the poverty level, women are the hardest hit. Women are under the poverty line when you look at Ghana Statistical Service and other things. So, and you see, they said women are heading 25% of households according to the 2021 population and housing census. So when you see me emphasizing on women, I am saying that these women, a man can give birth to 5 children and run away and leave the children to the woman.
A woman
can never, even if you are going to talk about single fathers, we are talking about 95% versus 5%. So if I place my interest on the 95, don't let it be a worry to you. And I'm not even saying women. I'm saying struggling women. Because these children, when government comes in to support them, when they grow up, these children will be patriotic to the country. People are not patriotic. People are thinking of how to amass wealth. Because when my mother could not pay my school fees, when I was running around, where was the government? We shouldn't always be waiting for outside people to come and give us peanuts. We shouldn't always be thinking that we are so poor as a country, we can't do anything. There is a saying that the Bible says it is only in giving that we receive. In Ghana, we don't do anything when it comes to showing compassion to the vulnerable. And we are saying that let's have that compassionate heart. And then to try to do something to people who are vulnerable and they are looking for help. When you give out, the Bible says you get more. But Ghana, we are always taking from people. No wonder we are in IMF. We are in IMF because we don't want to give out. We always want to receive. And you will find people sitting on a lot of media stations talking about, we don't have the money, we don't have the money. If we have money to pay ex gratia, we should have money to put up homes for our elderly people who are being killed and maimed as witches at the various witches' camps. We should be able to do that as a country. So the PNC is coming up with a lot of policies to be able to shape this country for the better.
Great.
Do not vote for a political party that is telling you, Operation Change Position. Change position for what? Just change position for position's sake? That is what we are bringing on the table.
All right. quite an emotional and straightforward submission from Janet Nabla. Now, I'm struggling to identify here whether to say PNC or CVP, but you come back to that. Now, Doc, I was actually hoping one of them slip and speaks about the measure, which has been speculated for some time. There's been rumors after the EC closed about 17 political parties in the country. Some of them are UDP and the rest. And they were advised for these parties to merge and become one political party to go against the other big 2 political parties, the NDC and the NPP. Finally, she's released the cat out of the bag, telling us that it's going to be a measure. Do we have a force? I'll come back to find out what exactly this entails. But for now, let me just stay with Dog and ask if we have a force.
So from that theory of synergy, right, combined forces produces higher value than a single force. And so if PNC and CPP are going to put themselves together, understand themselves, come up with very pragmatic, policies. I see the 2 women all emphasizing
very strong women, I must say.
All emphasizing on policy. And I think that, policy is what is, informing voters now, apart from that issue of delivery. And so you probably would need a policy that will work with the people. And so when they come together in that spirit of unity, understanding, and they bring out such pragmatic policies, I think that it will be fine. She has identified a gap, which she talks about, a kind of vulnerability policy, targeting single parents, whether single fathers or single mothers. And I think it is a well thought out, policy, which should sell, all right? Because when you look at, even the current brouhaha surrounding this debt exchange, individual debt exchange issue, it all boils down to the lack of a policy targeting the vulnerables, all right? So the pensioners are saying, no, we can't accept this because they see themselves as vulnerable, you see. And those who are in active service are also saying, no, we will not accept it. Why? Because they have a lot of vulnerable people depending on them. And so it's an issue of vulnerability, all right? And so a policy that could hold this is something that Ghanaians would probably buy into. But that not to say, for me, the disintegration of the CPP, is what has brought us to where we are. I still maintain that position that, I don't want to say that CPP actually failed Ghana. Coming from the response that Madam gave, which I perfectly understand, the political brakes that was put on the CPP and the fact that, it was some intentions to also disintegrate the CPP and make it what it should be, has really affected, the party up to now. But going forward, I also feel that some members of the CPP were not patriotic enough, to stay in the party and fight for the party and make sure that the party, stand at its rightful position when it comes to the politics of this country. As a leading party coming from independence, all right, with that store of knowledge or knowledgeable guys, within the ranks and file of the CPP, I was even expecting that probably when there was a political attempt, to disintegrate the CPP, probably some of these people will put their lives on the line, fight for the party, and probably get the party, to be running. But like a dog that is, will bark and will be running upon people approaching, putting its tail between the two legs and running backwards. I think that, I'm a bit emotional because I feel that CPP could have done more than it could have done. And nothing is too late.
Is it late?
Yes.
You keep saying could and all that. Is it late?
That's the point I'm coming. Nothing is too late. Okay, unless probably we decide not to do it. But changing positions, right? So maybe CPP have realized that the position that it finds itself is not good. So there's a need for a change of position. And so probably in changing that, the need for the right things, the right policies, the right strategies, the right direction should be taken. In that case, whatever mind that you have now, you can meet, probably, in quotes, I'm not saying that is my position though, but you can meet the third force that the Ghanaian people are looking for. As she was talking, she kept mentioning MPP and NDC. It has become two sides of the coin, isn't it? Yes. So if we want to move into a multi-party democracy, then of course we have a die to toss, which is number 1 to 6. All right. So which means that if one particular party comes to power and that party is not performing and we move into opposition, it will take you 6 different turns, as probability we'll talk about. And so we want to see you come. Okay, but this time it shouldn't be as it was in the past, that we tried, we didn't succeed. But these mergers has happened before. Right? We've seen it happen. Sometimes, even on the negotiation table, it breaks down, and the other parties will go their separate ways. All right? But this time, if it is going to happen, then we expect that it will work, and Ghanaians would also. I think there's another point which was talking about the fact that
I'll come back to you, but I have to say thank you to my sponsors. I'll come back to you later. So, Dr. Bernard Tutubuahin is political marketing expert, and as can hear proper lecture this afternoon as we speak about breaking the dual political parties we have here in the country, what exactly can be done to ensure that Ghana is at its very good peak. And I'm still in the studio by, should I say PNC? By PNC's General Secretary, Janet Nabla, and also the chain leader of the CPP, Nana Sapon Kuma. We are back after this break with more. But don't forget that you can also WhatsApp us on 02444 32498 for conversation. Don't call, just to messages. Stay with us. And so thank you so much for staying with us here on Good Afternoon Ghana from our studios here at Regina Crown. Still here with Dr. Tutu, who is a political marketing expert and also the General Secretary for the PNC, Jenny Dabla, and also chair leader for the CPP and Nasapon Kuma from Poma. We are talking about breaking the double or only two political parties we've seen here so far. Even though we've had other ones come in, we know they've been the longest ruling parties in government here in the country. So, Doug, let me come back to you quickly before I have Nana respond to some of your
So I was
points.
just moving towards a point that she made about the fact that the general perception about Ghanaians is that certain policies will not work. You can't have probably a third force. You see, that is a perception, right? Now, perceptions are normally developed from either 2 or 3 angles, right? The first one is by your experience. The experience that you have had, the engagement that you have had, all right? And probably the second one, we talk about what people have said, testimonies, all right? So I have not been to Metro Television before, but people are saying that the studios are good. It gives me a kind of mental picture, and that is perception, all right, to set what I should expect. And so you see that when people are talking about the fact that we can't have a third force, the smaller parties are not serious. It is eating into the mindset of people. Definitely, even if your own supporter, somebody who has followed you to campaigns, is going to vote, then that thing will set him. Change of mind. So you realize that continuously, all right, if my memory serves me right, from 1992, the smaller parties, including CPP, okay, have not been able to hit 5% of national votes. And that is a worry. And it is all because of the kind of perception, running through. And you and I, in all discussions, you keep saying the fact that MPP has failed, NDC has failed, isn't it? And which the national voter probably would also buy into. But it becomes difficult for me to say that I will not vote because NDC has failed and MPP has failed. So it becomes, making a choice between two evils. You understand? So if a third force will come, that's why I keep saying that if there's going to be a merger, okay, we should see that kind of seriousness. We should see that kind of strength. We should see that kind of energy. We should see that kind of value that is being presented to the Ghanaian people. If we are bringing in, big guys, opinion leaders, to support the cause, the new direction of the CPP, all right, we should see that kind of, value in there, because the voter will not vote. I mean, the Ghanaian voter currently, will not vote, thinking about the fact that my vote will not give me value.
Wonderful.
All right. You want to reply to some of his points?
Yes. I mean, the engagement is very positive. And what I would like to just add, when anyone tells me or talks about the situation that CPP finds itself in, I like to listen, because there has to be a reason why we are where we are. And indeed, because we need to get out of here, we will get out of here. One thing before I even go ahead with all what is being said is to just go back to what you said about the people, the former members of CPP could have done better. I want us to understand the power when you are looking at colonization and neo-colonization. You have to understand the power of the imperial power. You have to understand when people that know you and have the authority plan for you, it's like putting somebody in a room for a long period of time. You dehumanize the person for over a longer period of time. The person might behave in a certain way. You might think he's not a neat person, doesn't know what he's doing, but it's because you've taken him through such a long period of time of dehumanization. And CPP, our fathers were jailed, not for 1 month, not for 2 months, My father was in jail for over 2 years. Several of them were jailed immediately after the coup. So by the time they came out of prison for no reason. And the reason only being that you were part of government. You were either a parliamentarian, he was a parliamentarian, and for that reason. So when they came out, and then there was also a law that they couldn't hold any position for 10 years. I think the law is still there, for 10 years. And you couldn't gather as a group. So sometimes, and then your founder, the father that you knew was still out there in exile. And a lot of things were orchestrated and were like the perception out there was being said. And these people that did the coup, like the CIA and all that, they planned it. So sometimes it's so simple, but from the reality and the practical point of view, rather I'd say CPP has tried over the years. Because immediately it was released, we go on. When you see PNC today, PNC are own. PNC came out of PNP. PNP is CPP without the name and the band. It was when it was banned that it was the same parents of ours that became PNP. You understand? Now, moving forward, what is important as we sit here is to remember that we are not trying to talk about the history. We are talking about moving forward. What is the future of this country? When you have young people and you have a whole nation, all things being equal, yes, they would be considering so many things. But at times today are not all things being equal. Things have turned completely in directions that the Ghanaian never expected. Look at the haircuts that we've had. And there is a history to it. It is not just the governments of today. It's the policies of the governments of today and the government of MPP, NDC. It is the policy. These neoliberal policies are the reasons why we are here. So when we talk about policies, we are talking about human-centered policy and policies that are based on developing and improving the lives of people. Now, how do you improve people's life when you don't have money? How do you improve people's life when all you have to do is keep borrowing? You must find ways and means. And how were we doing it in the past? We believed that the Ghana itself, the state itself must have wealth. That the state itself must be in control. When the state is poor, its citizens will be poor, no matter how much you want to go through the, private sector is the engine of development. Private sector is the engine of development if you are able to support that private sector. Properly. But when you can't support private sector, let me give you a typical example. You see, the Ghanaian, please, we, the CPP, we had in our manifesto one simple policy that we never had a chance to bring out, which was that no farmer was going to sell its own produce after farming. That if a farmer farmed, then it was going to be the responsibility of the state to ensure that what you have there, you have farmed, gets to the people and it is used. Therefore, what it means that it will put responsibility on the state, which means the community, like unit committee members, assembly, and all that, to make sure that every tomato that is being farmed was going to be bought, as we did with cocoa, so that farmers, right there and then, no farmer was going to be impoverished from farming. You grow okra, and you have to end up becoming a marketing expert, like the way we have doctor here. You have to end up becoming a trucking expert. You have to be a road expert. You don't own the roads, you don't make the roads, you don't own trucks, you didn't do no marketing, and yet you have to worry about how you produce okra for the state, for us, and also worry about how the okra gets to me. But then we would have made sure that you, the young person, would have had the factory, the equipment, the support to ensure that that okra is dried, packaged, exported, consumed here. So when you have a policy, one policy, it rolls over to what the essence of that policy is. Right. So if you are vulnerable and you are human-centered, you are thinking about the vulnerable people, you will not have a policy that is thinking about making it bring the Chinese people and other foreigners come in here with one district, one factory.
Right.
You just leave it
All right.
like that, and when you end up with factories being owned
Thank
by
you.
foreigners.
Thank you
That's
so
what we
much.
have.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, but then we are out of time. We just have 5 seconds each to wrap up our statement. 5 seconds. Forgive me, producer, please. Just 5 seconds each. That is a quick one.
The PNC is going to write a petition to Parliament to plead with Parliament to look at how our political parties are being run in the country. The NDC have come out with a filing fee of 500,000 Ghana cedis per person to file as a presidential candidate of their party. What they are saying is that a person like Liman, who came from a village called Golu, wouldn't have been able to become a president if he was to be in this present Ghana now. What he's saying is that the poor person now child can no longer even anticipate.
But is that not their own? Their own headed to
That
carry?
is what you are saying. Because we are political. What they are doing is going to have a trickle-down effect on my party.
I'm sorry, but I'll have
because
please.
the Electoral Commission is going to look at what they are doing and purge it mark, and is going to affect it as a political party.
Dog, a quick one, please. Just about 2 seconds, then we wrap up, please.
Yes, it is an exciting news. The rebranding of the CPP.
Okay. All right.
I think that they should forge ahead.
And do it.
They need to
Nana, a quick one, please. Very, very quick.
*92*277#. Every youth out there is now given the opportunity to come take over
All right.
CPP and go take over the governance of this country.
Thank you so much.
*92*.
And thank you so much for watching. Good afternoon.